You're not our father. You're just Mark. Liam, my 18-year-old stepson. The words just hung there in the kitchen. The kitchen I just had remodeled, with the quartz countertops I picked out. The kid who said it was wearing a $400 hockey jersey I'd bought him as a just because gift. His $3,000 worth of goalie pads were sitting in my garage, and he had the nerve to look me dead in the eye and drop that bomb. Why? Because I had just asked a single, perfectly reasonable question. Liam, your dream school is $80,000 a year. How exactly do you plan on paying for that? It was a nuclear moment. His older sister, Qley, 19, home for the weekend from her outrageously expensive private liberal arts college, the one I was co-signed on the loans for, didn't even bother to look up from her phone. She just let out this heavy, bored sigh. God, Mark, why do you always have to make everything about money? It's so tacky. Tacky, that was the word. Not scary, not impossible. Tacky. As if I'd just used the wrong fork at a dinner party. Here I was, looking at a combined college bill that would be north of $140,000 a year for two kids who weren't biologically mine, and I was the one being tacky for bringing it up. My wife, Sarah, their mother, just stood by the sink, wringing a dish towel. Her hands were white. Kids, please, Mark is just trying to understand the plan. No, Mom, Liam snapped, his face red. He was all in now. He's not trying to understand. He's trying to control us, like he always does. Just because you married him doesn't mean he gets a vote on our lives. It's fine. We'll just ask Dad. He gets it. He wants us to follow our dreams. And there it was, the dad bomb. Dad was Richard, the cool weekend dad. The guy who lived maybe 20 minutes away, hadn't paid a single cent in court-ordered child support in over 5 years, but was always available to swoop in, take them to a rock concert, and fill their heads with absolute poison. He was the guy who promised them the world, knowing full well he'd never have to pay for it. And I was just Mark, the guy who paid for the braces, the guy who paid for the car, the guy who paid for the therapy, the guy who paid for everything. A decade. 10 years of my life, my money, my time. 10 years of being the on-call 24/7, all-inclusive parental unit. And in one 30-second exchange, I was reduced to just Mark. The strangest thing happened. The rage I should have felt, it just wasn't there. It was like a switch, a heavy industrial click somewhere deep in my chest. The sound of a bank vault door swinging shut and locking. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I actually let out a little breath. I think I even smiled. It must have been a terrifying smile. You know what, Liam? I said, my voice perfectly calm, eerily calm. You are 100% right. The sudden agreement threw him. He blinked. What? You're right. I'm not your father. And this is a family matter. You, your sister, your mom, and Richard. That's the family. You should absolutely talk to him about it. He gets it. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my keys. Sarah's eyes went wide. Mark, I'm just Mark, I said, walking to the door. And just Mark is going to go for a drive. You guys, you handle the family stuff. You're all adults now, right? You got this. I walked out. I got in my car. And I didn't just go for a drive. I drove to a hotel, checked in, and turned off my phone. The silence was deafening, and in that silence, I pulled out my laptop, and I opened a file I'd been keeping for almost 10 years, a password-protected spreadsheet. I called it the Sucker Fund. Let me tell you about the Sucker Fund. I met Sarah when she was a single mom, just barely holding it together. Liam was 8, Qley was 9. They were quiet, sweet kids. And Richard, he was already the villain. The guy who'd show up in a rented Mustang, promised them a trip to Disneyland, and then something would come up. He'd forget his wallet. He'd get a flat tire. But I was the one left dealing with 2 sobbing kids who felt abandoned all over again. I fell for Sarah, hard. And I fell for the idea of being the hero, the good guy, the one who shows up. So I showed up. I showed up with my steady IT project manager salary. Sarah worked part-time as a realtor, but her income was chaotic, unpredictable. So I took over. I was the stable one. I started the spreadsheet not out of malice, but just to track where our money was going. It started small. Qley's braces, $7,100. Liam's braces, $6,800. Liam's first set of goalie pads when he decided hockey was his destiny, $2,500. The next set, when he grew out of them, $3,000. The travel league fees, year after year, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. My God, the hockey. The hotels, the gas, the team dinners, then Qley. Her anxiety flared up in high school. Therapy, $150 a session, twice a week for a year. Insurance covered almost none of it. $14,400. Her first car, a used Honda so she could get to her unpaid internship, which was really just hanging out at a fashion blogger's office. $8,000, plus the insurance, plus the repairs. The study abroad summer trip to Spain she had to go on. $5,500, which I paid for by pausing my 401k contributions for 6 months. New laptops for both of them, new iPhones every single time a new one came out. I sat there in that sterile Marriott room, staring at the total, the grand total of extra. This wasn't mortgage. This wasn't food. This wasn't utilities. This was the sucker fund. The total amount I had spent was $92,450, and I was tacky. I slept better than I had in years. I turned my phone on the next morning. 22 missed calls from Sarah. A string of angry, then terrified, then pleading texts. Mark, where are you? This isn't funny. The kids are upset. Please just come home. We can talk about this. I'm scared, Mark. Please. I drove home. She was sitting at the kitchen island, the same place the execution had happened. She looked like she hadn't slept. She ran to me. Oh my God, Mark. I thought you'd... I'm not leaving you, Sarah, I said gently, pulling away from her hug. But I am leaving. Her face crumpled. What? What is that? I don't understand. I'm not leaving the house. I'm leaving... The arrangement, the contract, the bank of Mark is closed. Indefinitely. I sat down at the island, opened my laptop, and turned it to face her. I'm done, Sarah. I'm done being the solution to every problem and the target for all the resentment. What is that? She whispered, looking at the spreadsheet. That, I said, is the sucker fund. That's $92,150. That's the price of braces, hockey, therapy, cars, and following your dreams. That's the money I've poured into your kids who, as of last night, have made it perfectly clear that I am, and I quote, just Mark, and that I'm tacky for even mentioning money. She started to cry. They didn't mean it, Mark. You know how they get. They're just spoiled. I spoiled them. Yes, I said. You did, and I enabled it. But the enabling, that's over, as of today. What does that mean? She sniffled. It means, I said, pulling up a new document I'd written that morning, that we are making some changes, drastic ones. First, we are separating our finances completely as of today. Separating, we will have one single joint household account. I've already calculated it. Mortgage, utilities, property tax, house insurance, and groceries. That's it. Based on our incomes, my $110,000 and your, let's call it $35,000. I will be responsible for 76% of that joint account, and you will be responsible for 24%. My paycheck will no longer be deposited into our joint checking. It will go into my new account, and your commissions will go into your new account. What we do with our money after the bills are paid is our own business. Mark, you can't... That's not a marriage, she wailed. A marriage is a partnership, Sarah. I finally raised my voice. What we had, was a sponsorship, and my contract just expired. My sponsorship is over. What about the kids? What about Qley's tuition? It's due in 3 weeks. What about Liam's deposit for NYU? I took a deep breath. That, I said, is a fantastic question, and I am so excited to hear what Richard has to say about it. Because, like Liam said, they're going to ask Dad. He gets it. The first week was chaos. Absolute screaming, door-slamming chaos. Qley, back at her expensive school, must have seen the funding pullback on her student portal. She called me, not Sarah, me. Mark, hey, so, funny story, she said, that fake sweet voice she used when she wanted something. The bursar's office says there's a hold on my account. My next tuition payment is late or something. Did you forget? No, Qley, I said, sipping my coffee. I was on my lunch break, sitting in my car. I didn't forget. Oh, okay. So, what's the problem? There's no problem. You just need to talk to your mom and your dad. Richard. A long, cold silence on the other end. What? Why? Because, as you and Liam pointed out, this is a family matter. I'm not your dad. I'm just tacky Mark. So I'm removing myself from the equation. You need to talk to your parents. Plural. Mark, that's not... You can't do this. I'll be kicked out. Her voice was rising, cracking. That sounds incredibly stressful. I really hope Richard pulls through for you. Good luck. I hung up. Liam just sulked. He was giving me the silent treatment, which was hilarious because he was the one who started it. He'd stomp around the house, accidentally slamming into me, muttering asshole under his breath. I ignored him. I was busy opening a new high-yield savings account. Then came Sarah. Oh, Sarah. She tried everything. She tried crying. She tried yelling. She tried seducing me. She tried guilt. You are ruining their lives. You are destroying this family, all because your little feelings got hurt. This has nothing to do with my feelings, Sarah, I told her, night after night. This is about respect. This is about consequences. This is about the real world. Your kids are adults. They said the words. I am just listening to them. They fired me. I'm just accepting my termination. The best part? The college fund. Oh, this was delicious. See, years ago, I had opened a 529 college savings plan, in my name, with them as the beneficiaries. I'd been funding it. It had about $60,000 in it. The day after the sucker fund revelation, I called my financial advisor. I cashed it all out. Every penny, I paid the 10% penalty, I paid the taxes on the gains. I didn't care. It was a $7,500 freedom tax. I took the remaining $52,000 and put it straight into my new, private, mark-only brokerage account. The kids found out when the college found out. Qley was put on academic probation and told if her $30,000, her half, the rest was loans, wasn't paid, she'd be expelled. Liam's NYU dream, it just evaporated. The deposit deadline came and went. Richard, needless to say, did not get it. I even got a call from Richard. Richard, the man himself. I hadn't spoken to him in 3 years. Hey, Mark? Man, what's going on? He said, like we were old buddies. The kids are, really upset. Qley's in a total tailspin. Is she? I said, cleaning my new golf clubs. I'd taken up golf. Yeah, man. And, look, I know we've had our whatever, but Sarah says you're, cutting them off just because of some stupid thing Liam said. Come on, man. They're just kids. They're 18 and 19, Richard. They're adults, and they were crystal clear. I'm not their dad. You are. So, be a dad, pay the bill. He laughed, a short, nervous laugh. Yeah, right. Look, I'm a little tight right now, man, but I was thinking, maybe if I can, pull together, $1,000, maybe $2, you could, match me for the kids. I laughed. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. Match you? Richard, I've been matching you to the tune of $92,000 for a decade. I'm done. I'm out. I'm retired. They are all yours, my friend. You get it. Remember? Go get it. That's not cool, Mark. You're turning them against me. No, Richard, I said, my voice ice cold. You did that all by yourself. By being a ghost who promised them magic. I'm just the one who turned the lights on. Have a good life. Don't call this number again. I blocked him. The next few months, God, it was a war. A cold, silent war. Qley was kicked out. She had to come home. The shame and the rage, it radiated off her. She wouldn't look at me. She wouldn't speak to me. She got a job. A double shift, minimum wage waitress job at a 24-hour diner. She'd come home at 3 a.m., smelling like grease and failure, her feet bleeding. And I'd be sitting there, reading a book. She'd just glare at me with pure, uncut hatred. Liam fell into a deep depression. He wouldn't leave his room, just video games, 18 hours a day. He refused to apply to community college. He said his life was over. And Sarah? Sarah was a ghost. She was working all the time, trying to pick up extra clients, trying to scrape together something. But she was broken. Our marriage was gone. We were roommates. We slept in the same bed, 6 inches apart, a frozen tundra between us. She hated me. I think she hated me more than the kids did. I had broken the illusion. I had forced her to see the reality of her life. And me? I was fine. I really, truly was. I lost 20 pounds. I was maxing out my 401k and my IRA. I bought a motorcycle, a beautiful brand new $20,000 Triumph. I'd take off on Saturdays and ride for 8 hours, alone. They saw it. Oh, they saw it. They saw the new golf clubs. They saw the new motorcycle. They saw me, relaxed, reading, unbothered, and it killed them. I was the monster. I was the selfish, evil stepfather who was hoarding his money while they suffered. I had one moment of doubt. Qley had come home from a double. It was raining. She was soaked. She just stood in the kitchen, not even taking her coat off, and just broke. She slid down the cabinet and sobbed. a desperate, hopeless, ugly cry. And I almost caved. I almost walked over. I almost said, "It's okay, I'll fix it." But then I heard her mumble, through the tears, to herself, I can't believe he's just letting this happen. That asshole, just because we hurt his precious little feelings." I turned around. I went back to my study. I closed the door. This wasn't about feelings. This was a lesson. And class was not dismissed. The thaw didn't happen overnight. It was slow, painful. It took almost a year. The first crack was Liam. The car he had was an old beater I used to maintain. It broke down. He actually tried to fix it with Richard. They apparently made it worse. He was stranded. He had to get a bus home. He was humbled. He knocked on my study door. First time in 6 months. I said, "Come in." He just stood there, couldn't meet my eye. "Hey," he mumbled. So, the car, it's not working. I think Richard, he put the oil in the wrong place." "He put it in the radiator," I said, not looking up from my monitor. "Yeah, how'd you know?" "Just a guess. So, what do you need?" "I need it. I have a job interview." "At Home Depot, just as a stalker." I looked up at him, really looked at him. He was thinner. His eyes were tired. "Pop the hood," I said. "And Liam, don't ever let Richard touch a wrench again." He tightened the oil filter on. We spent the next Saturday fixing it. He didn't say thank you, but he listened. He handed me the tools. He learned. The second crack was Qley, and it was profound. She had saved up from the diner. She'd saved $4,000, all on her own. And she had enrolled in community college, herself. She was taking accounting. She came to me one night, sat at the kitchen island. "Just Mark," I said. "What's up?" She didn't smile. She was all business. "I have a question." "Shoot." "I'm in this financial aid class. My professor was talking about the FAFSA, the form for student aid." "Okay." He said that a step-parent's income only counts if you list them, or if they legally adopted you, which you didn't. "That's more or less correct. It's complicated, but yeah." She just stared at me. Her eyes were... I'd never seen this look. It wasn't anger. It was calculation. I went online. I found my old FAFSA submission, the one we filled out for expensive private college. "I remember," I said. "You listed your income," she said, her voice a whisper. "You put $110,000 on my form, with Mom's $30,000. It pushed our expected family contribution. It made us look rich." "Yes," I said. "It disqualified me from everything, the Pell Grants, the state aid, all the free money. I looked it up, I would have gotten almost a full ride to State U, based on Mom and Richard's income, because he pays nothing." "Yes, Qley," I said very, very gently. "You would have. So, why? Why did you put your name on it? You screwed me." "No, Qley, I didn't. You, your mom, we were a team. We were a family. We were trying to get you into your dream school, and that school required my income. Because I was the one who was going to be paying for it. I was the one who had to co-sign the loans. The only way to get you that money was for me to be on the hook, to be family." She just broke. Her head just thudded onto the quartz countertop. She didn't sob. She just leaked. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid. You were helping me, and I called you tacky." That was it. That was the apology. It wasn't an "I'm sorry." It was an "I understand." It's been 2 years since that night. Life is different. It's not a fairy tale. Sarah and I are in therapy. We're still sleeping in the same bed. But the tundra is thawing. We have 2 joint accounts now. Household and us. We're dating again. It's nice. Liam got the job at Home Depot. He loves it. He's a shift manager now. He's taking night classes at the community college in logistics. He says he wants to run the whole supply chain. He still lives at home, but he pays rent. To me. Qley is the star. She aced community college, transferred to State U. She's a junior, getting a 4.0 in accounting. She has her own spreadsheet now. She's terrifyingly smart. She's going to run the world. That $52,000, I split it. I took $26,000 and I put it into an IRA for Sarah, in her name only. Sorry I was such a hard-ass present. She cried. The other $26,000, that's my triumph fund. We had Thanksgiving at our house last month. Liam was helping me fix a wobbly deck board. Qley was in the kitchen, showing Sarah a budget app. It was quiet. It was normal. Qley came out, handed me a beer. "Hey, Mark," she said. "Hey, Qley. Me and Liam, we're going to split the cost of a new water heater for the house. As a Christmas present for you and Mom. I've run the numbers. We can afford it." I just nodded. "That's a good plan, Qley." "Yeah," she said. She smiled. "It's a family matter. I'm still just Mark. But when they say it now, it sounds different. It sounds like enough."